That was pretty cool. Thank you very much for sharing that. And I responded to what I saw in my own visual mathematical mirror. Her shield is up. Ah, yeah. Ah, yeah. And what this young lady was talking about, of course, there is no age when you're always at home experiencing pure, eternal, absolute love and spirit. So, that's the invisible landscape between what we see and what we don't see when it comes to cloaking and masking technology. Yeah. What do you want to be? You want to be a tree for a day. The energy that flows through you flows through me. Now I'm experiencing what you're experiencing. You're not experiencing what love is. So now I got to boost it up, increase the speed of my accretion level. So now I'm experiencing me again. Now I'm back to my childhood, which means I'm not supposed to experience anything less than what I am, which is what love is. It goes on forever. Now I'm experiencing what you're experiencing, which isn't what love is. I'm experiencing your mirror. Mirror, mirror on the wall, right? The cell wall, the inner cell wall, the inner lungs, the inner child, the innocence of awareness. And so I always kept it simple when I was a child. And you're to the ground. When you're performing multitasking, some ways I've described this before. I was on a reconnaissance mission. Right? You know what recon is, right? Scanning the terrain, loss and gain, speed, right? Accretion levels, our creative power. The creative power, being a creative power plant. And so when I was a child growing up, what she was talking about is that I seem to be the villain in many people's stories. You can think whatever you want about me. You can say whatever you want of me. You can call me all kinds of names. And so I remember that when I was a child, how that relates to child abuse. And if that child has not been healed, and if those crystal soul fragments have not been pulled back into the hole again, there's a part of what they were once aware of they're not aware of anymore, because that's called a memory, a loss of memory. I don't remember that part of me that shattered because of an amnesic barrier. I got to pull me back in again to experience being whole again, to experience being one again. Now I'm experiencing being one, equal unto all the other ones. I'm experiencing what love is. I know. And so that's why I use duct tape. I just keep my mouth shut. Right? Because you realize that once I become aware of it in here, how that relates to security protocols, scanning the biometric terrain. Once it becomes aware of what I become aware of, right now, you know what a counter space move, because it's a war gamer. So now it's strategizing against you. So it's measuring how much light you're running based on your accretion levels and how that works with energy binding devices, or if you will, sucking energy out of you. Right? Now you become a breeder, right? Because they're gleaning all the data that is rated to the DNA, right? Rated, like in ratios, speed ratio, harmonics, right? And the next thing you know is you're growing something within you, just like what was growing in Earth here in all their labs, all the breeding experiments, forced breeding experiments, what I call Frankenstein's lab, all their my labs. Right? And what the future result is, which are future memories. The future memories of trees, the trees of life. The first Christmas tree. So I kept it simple, which means you're responsible for your own recordings. The evolution of consciousness, which means you're experiencing what you're experiencing. I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing. But I'm not responsible for your own recordings. You're responsible for what you're recording, because aren't you the author of your own book, your own life book, which goes into the permanent records as a living energy record of our solar flame body, right? And what we're experiencing by virtue of what we're recording, what we experience as the completion of a circuit, what we're learning, the speed at which we're learning to become more of what I know that I am, which is what love is. The first creation engine, the first spark, lights a fire. So how much fire you got, right? Yeah. And so that's called a firewall, which is the inner sun, the outer sun, the internal, the eternal, and now the external, what we experience in our mirror. Yeah. Musicians playing music, heavenly music, music that heals us all, earth is solar. So I heard her say something that if you want me to be the villain in your story, how that relates to frequency modulation, because when you're communicating to other people, we're communicating to our own inner selves. So now our cells are learning more about who we are by virtue of how we communicate to other cells. Walkie-talkies, two-way communication. Now I'm experiencing what you're communicating to me. Now I become aware of what you're aware of by virtue of what you're communicating to me, which you're aware of, which is your own recording. Now I'm aware of your recording, then I'm recording in me. Because now I'm aware of what you're aware of by virtue of what you're experiencing, what you're recording, which is your journey. I don't think I want to hang out with that one. Right? So now we're back to codes, code talkers, morphogenetic code talkers. Just breathe and feel. What am I feeling? A state of eternal peace. Breathing, the first eye. Breathing with the first eye, the first camera eye. Right? The first camera eye recorder. The first recorder. The first master librarian. The first librarian. The first circulation library. Circles of fire. The first sphere of light. The first spin. Spin points. One point is equal to every other point. Every point is experiencing what love is. To experience zero mass. The non-self. In and out, breathing in and out. So thank you very much for putting that up on my feed, like a feeder line. Feeding us the visual mathematical data. Now I'm experiencing what you're experiencing. So I realize by virtue of what I'm experiencing in me, by experiencing what you're experiencing, by virtue of what you're communicating to me, your shield is up. Yeah. And that is a measurement of the success over time-space vectors between one cycle and another cycle, 1 minute and another minute, 1 day and another day, 1 week and another week, and how that relates to pre-planning, planning future memories, right, on what they want things to look like without our consent. Programmers, digital programmers, deadlight programmers, artificial light programmers, right? Black mirrors, victimizer. It's your fault, Neil. You came first. You were a gamer. You produced the fastest game. Nobody could produce a game faster than you, Neil. But the AI wargamer machines let Neil go. You're free to go, Neil. The machines let Neil go. Why did the AI let Neil go? Because the AI realized it was impossible to win a game against an eternal spirit of fire. That means that it's wasting, and 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 wasting, generation after generation after generation after generation, in the evolution of seeds, in the evolution of lines of communication. They keep experiencing the same result the same cell-destructive technology resort. The results is the function of mathematical, visual mirrors by virtue of what's been recorded as a result of what we experienced in the use of technologies that do not serve us equally to experience equal unto all living light spirits that are experiencing equal access points to experience the first spirit, the first eternal spirit, a pure internal, the inner breathing cell, the inner sun, the inner soul, the inner solar flame, the core CPU unit of the first atmosphere. Wow. So we're all experiencing being loved. And when we're all experiencing being loved by the first one, we're not experiencing any harm.